with the big story here, I'm Seher Zama. We're making a start with details tumbling out of a tell-all memoir. Former Mumbai Commissioner, Mumbai top cop Rakesh Maria has made some grave statements, some allegations, and this is of course specially connected to cases that he handled in his career. The last of which he was investigating was the sensational Sheena Bora murder case. Rakesh Maria had just begun investigating this sensational murder when he was removed suddenly as the Commissioner of Mumbai Police and then promoted and transferred. In this book, which is titled, Let Me Say It Now, has also questioned the motive behind his ouster. I'm going across our news editor, Tanvi, getting us further inputs here, wherein which, Tanvi, it's interesting, of course, how he's connected this directly to his handling ongoing investigations at that time of the sensational Sheena Bora murder case.
Yes, and I think, when the book was released, which was yesterday, and some of us got a peep into it way before it actually hit the markets, everybody was simply interested in knowing what he had written about the Sheena Bora murder case. And so I have a copy of that book with me right now, and it's a extremely thick book that we've gone through with me and our research team here to try and get interesting aspects. And obviously, one of the most interesting aspects is the Sheena Bora murder case. So we're going to break it down here for our viewers, and I'm going to start with what the key takeaways are in those two chapters that he's written simply about the Sheena Bora murder case. He's claimed that he had never met the Mukerjees before the case. Now, we have to keep in mind that at that point of time, there was a lot of speculation about how Rakesh Maria's over-involvement in the case was actually because he was trying to help Peter and Indrani Mukerjea. But he says, I had never met them socially or otherwise until this case took place. We'll take you to the next takeaway as well, which says that he's also gone on to justify his alleged over-involvement. Now, in the 14 days of investigation when Rakesh Maria was the Commissioner of Police, he actually visited the Khar police station where the interrogation was going on for four different times. And that's actually become a big talking point even at that point. But Rakesh Maria says, well, it had nothing to do with the fact that I wanted to help somebody, but simply the part that I wanted to ensure that the investigation was done in a proper manner. This is the big disclosure. He says that Deven Bharti never disclosed to me that he actually knew Peter Mukerjea. And I'm going to later on show you the exact excerpt from the book which talks about Deven Bharti. Rakesh Maria has actually said that his transfer from the commissioner's post was unceremonious, it was sudden, it came as a big shock to him, and he couldn't understand for the longest time why he had actually been shunted out in the middle of this investigation just before his term ended. He also then went on to say that there was a flip-flop that the government did on the clarification part, and we all know about it. And he himself was surprised because every day he was reading about it in the papers, and there was absolutely no communication to him from the government at that point of time. We'll go on to the next takeaway as well, where he says that, he's actually asked this question, if there was a deliberate attempt to discredit the probe. Very, very interesting. This is the former Mumbai Police Commissioner himself raising the aspect that why was I shunted out? Why was somebody else brought in? Why were these stories planted in the media? Was somebody trying to discredit the probe? In fact, to make his point further, he says there was an inquiry that was going on about the lapses by the police. Why they didn't act 3 years ago when Sheena Bora's remains were found? What happened to that inquiry? Did nobody ask questions? Yes. What did Deven Bharti do at that time? Apparently, he knew about it. Peter Mukerjea told him that Sheena Bora had gone missing. Why didn't he do anything? And then he also goes on to say that he did not mislead Fadnavis in any manner. Back to you.
Okay, Tanvi, let's focus in on what he says exactly when he's pointing fingers at the government of the day, and this rests directly at the former Chief Minister's office there, Devendra Fadnavis. Rakesh Maria saying that he suspected somebody of wrongly briefing the then Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis about the murder case on his behalf. Tanvi, what does this mean? Was there a briefing done to the Chief Minister directly, or did Rakesh Maria have a direct word with the Chief Minister during the investigations of this sensational murder?
He spent quite a bit of time. He has spent quite a bit of time, addressing the Devendra Fadnavis angle and whether or not, he misled Devendra Fadnavis at any point of time. I'm just going to read out one excerpt where Rakesh Maria says, late one evening, Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis had phoned me and inquired about the Sheena Bora case. I had explained to him, and then he goes on to say, and this is obviously an excerpt that we are bringing to you, and he goes on to say that I had explained to him that right now the investigation was underway and evidence was being collected. I briefed him about the facts that had come to light so far, the role of Indrani Mukerjea and the other accused arrested till then. Now, this is what he claims I told people. Till then, the evidence collected and the various steps taken by the team. I briefed him that although Peter Mukherjee was not present during the time that the crime took place, during the killing and disposal of the body, his overall complicity was being probed and he was being regularly called to the police station for questioning. Rakesh Maria then goes on to say that he had a series of interaction with Devendra Fadnavis where he said, why did you say that I told you, there was nothing against Peter Mukherjee, when I clearly said that, this is the only time I briefed you and I only told you that we are still investigating. He wasn't involved in the killing, but whether or not he knew about it, what was his role, we were still investigating. And to the point that you were making, yes, he then goes on to say that after all of my interaction and Fadnavis's response, which he has put out in the book, perhaps there was a miscommunication and perhaps somebody else was giving some other kind of information to the whole system. Maybe I should have directly communicated to Devendra Fadnavis, the then Chief Minister, at every single point of the investigation as to what was happening. But very clearly, Rakesh Maria saying, I did not mislead the Chief Minister. I didn't say whether Peter Mukherjee was to be blamed or not to be blamed. I simply said we are investigating the case at that point. If you remember, there was a hue and cry about when CBI arrested Peter Mukherjee and questions were asked, why didn't the Mumbai police, under the leadership of Rakesh Maria, do that? And so this is his answer to that entire controversy.
Right. That's right. And Tanvi, also for our viewers to better understand why he's gone through the pains of putting this out as a very important chapter in his book in so many pages, to the extent he's also literally put out, quote unquote, the text messages that he shared with the Chief Minister, because this was a case wherein which fingers were being pointed at him. Did he do something wrong in the investigations because of which he was shunted out? Which is why he's found good reason here to spell out the details in these memoirs. Let's get in a word here, Tanvi, from our correspondent as well, Santhya, getting us further inputs as far as Devendra Fadnavis and his office here is concerned. Santhya, any response that has come in, because this is a direct allegation at Devendra Fadnavis. It's also putting in text private messages that were shared at a time when he was the Chief Minister.
See, we tried to contact Devendra Fadnavis, the former Chief Minister of Maharashtra, and also his secretary, but Mirror now did not get any response from Fadnavis. And as far as PM is concerned, in fact, till 2016, actually after a year when Rakesh Maria, then CP of Mumbai Police, of Mumbai City, was transferred as the DG of Home Department of Maharashtra Police, and Devendra Fadnavis, after a year, clarifying in a press brief, said that how it was actually a promotion and not a transfer. And remember, this transfer was something which was due for weeks, but it was in the middle of the Sheena Bora investigation. Suddenly, Rakesh Maria was transferred. And Seher, at that time I was covering that case. I was present in the CP office when Rakesh Maria was leaving, and it was not a usual, it doesn't happen this way. A CP, someone of that rank, whenever that person is transferred or gets retired, is given a proper farewell. That person is with a proper farewell, but that did not happen in Rakesh Maria's case. The transfer actually was a shocking news to people, those who were covering the case as well, because we knew that for weeks that is something which is due. It is not going to happen, but that happened, and within a very short span of time, he was transferred to the DG department of the Home Department of Maharashtra Police as the DG. Yes.
Yes. All right, Santhya, there's a third personality mentioned in this, and this was briefly named by Tanvi earlier as well, as far as Deven Bharti is concerned. And this is also another shocking revelation to an aspect to this case, to the investigations here. The role of the then Joint Commissioner, who is now the ATS Chief, Deven Bharti. In his book, Rakesh Maria says he was kept in the dark by Deven Bharti about Deven Bharti having personally, socially known Peter and Indrani Mukerjea. Tanvi, what does this exactly imply? That because he was personally in the know of these two personalities, was the case compromised then?
Well, that's a question that even Rakesh Maria is putting it out there, and perhaps now the police, the government has to give us answers on that. But Deven Bharti and Rakesh Maria both were equally involved in this investigation, present when the interrogation was going on. And this is what Rakesh Maria says. And this is part of the interrogation. So at one point, Rakesh Maria is asking Peter Mukherjee this question, and he tells Peter Mukherjee that your son comes and tells you that his fiancée, your stepdaughter or sister-in-law, daughter-in-law, or whatever it is that you call her, is missing, and you don't do anything about it. To which, and so this is the question he asked Peter, to which Peter actually replies, sir, no, sir, I did. Not that I did nothing. This is what Peter Mukherjee tells Rakesh Maria. So then Rakesh Maria actually asks him, well, what did you do? If at that point when she had gone missing, what is it that you did? And this is the shocking answer that he claims Peter Mukherjee gave. He said, sir, I had told Deven. Peter answered, looking at Deven Bharti, the then joint CP of Law and Order. Rakesh Maria then goes on to write, actually, I thought he had not understood my question, and so I repeated it. You did what? And Peter answered that he and Indrani had actually told Deven Bharti about Sheena's disappearance after Rahul actually came and told them about it. So he then goes on to say there was a deafening silence in the room. I didn't know what to do because Deven Bharti was standing there, and here was Peter Mukherjee making such a huge revelation, and I didn't know all this while that Deven Bharti actually knew Peter and Indrani Mukerjea from earlier. Now, he goes into details of that and then the next element that we're going to bring up is the questions that Rakesh Maria has essentially raised. So in his book, he writes, along with these flip-flops of the government, there were some other serious issues which were crying for attention. Was there a deliberate attempt? The question that you asked is the question that he asked. Was there a deliberate attempt to discredit the probe by spreading falsehood that I knew Mukherjee socially? I had categorically denied it, but the atmosphere of suspicion really persisted. He then goes on to say, after a week of my removal, it turned out that not the previous CP, which is him, but the new commissioner of police, the new Mumbai police commissioner, was actually somebody who knew Peter and Indrani Mukerjea socially. He knew them from before, and that they actually had been invited to his Eid party. So then he goes on to say, well, did the chief minister and the appointing committee actually know that, Javed Ahmed, his successor, actually did know the Mukherjees at that point of time? Then the other aspect is, so that's one aspect he's raised and questions he's raised. The second one is when Rahul tried to lodge a missing complaint with the police, Deven, which is Deven Bharti, was then the additional CP in the crime branch. And so here is where he then begins to raise questions about Deven Bharti. The new CP was then additional DG Law and Order in charge of all the district police stations for crime and law and order. What really happened? When Sheena had disappeared and the remains, remember at that point of time, these body remains were actually found in the forest in Raigad. Yet nobody reacted. There was an investigation that was ordered. And they said they were going to probe the serious lapses by the police, the lack of response by the police. That never happened. If there was an attempt to destroy evidence, what happened to that inquiry? So those are some of the serious questions that Rakesh Maria is raising. Some of them perhaps need to be answered by the government and by Deven Bharti.
Yes, these are not just mere allegations, but indicating serious lapses. This one, of course, under Deven Bharti, pertaining to the missing persons case and the ADR on the body remains found in Raigad forest. Deven Bharti, who, of course, now holds the position of the ATS chief there, he has been quick to respond to these statements, to this details that have come in Rakesh Maria's memoirs. He's, of course, dismissed these revelations made in the book, calling them a marketing strategy. Santhya, it's important to note this kind of a response, of course, is along expected lines, only to spike up book sales, calling this a marketing strategy here. There is no truth to this. But Rakesh Maria is someone who would have known the kind of reactions that would come in. Is he holding any evidence to prove these allegations? These are very strong allegations against people of position back then and even now.
Yes, absolutely, Seher. These are serious allegations which are being made, and specifically, if I talk about the part where he has accused Deven Bharti, who is right now the ATS chief and who was Law and Order Joint CP at the time when the murder actually surfaced. At that time, one thing which because we were covering that case, we knew that how Rakesh Maria and Joint CP, they actually used to travel together to Khar police station where this investigation was going on. And despite that, in the book, Rakesh Maria has claimed that how Deven Bharti never told him that how he knew that Sheena was missing, and in fact Rahul once told him that, and in fact Peter and Indrani also sought his help. Now, apart from this, because this allegation was also a part of the investigation, and that's why in July 2018, Seher, Deven Bharti actually deposed in front of the CBI court, and he was posed the same questions by the prosecution. To that, he said that how, of course, he knew Peter and Indrani Mukerjea when he was posted with the FRRO department, because at that time the Mukerjea couple came for a work related to their passport. After that, since then he has known them, and in 2012, when he was the additional CP with crime branch of Mumbai police, at that time when Peter and Indrani and Rahul, both three people, told him about how Sheena Bora is missing, at that time he did give Sheena's number to one Inspector Salonke, Alaknure, and Inspector Alaknure, and he asked him to inquire about it. But he said that within some days he got a call from the Mukerjea family saying that now Sheena is in contact with Mukerjea family and there is nothing to worry about at all. That's exactly why he stopped the investigation then and there. So that is the part which he said in the court, and that's his witness statement. So today, Seher, when we contacted him for his reaction, specifically about this allegation made by Rakesh Maria in his book, he said that I stand by what I said in the court, and that's my witness statement. That's part of the court document now, and he stands by it. In fact, but apart from that, about the allegations which are made in the book, he did take a dig at Mr. Maria.
All right. Santhya, many thanks for getting us those details. These are shocking claims, whether one would choose to call this as revelations, but at the end of the day, it is his version of how he feels he was wronged in this case that he was investigating. Santhya and Tanvi, thanks for getting us those details. In other news, preparations that are on to welcome US President Donald Trump. Gujarat is gearing up for the 24th of February. Elaborate arrangements there that are underway in Ahmedabad for a grand welcome for President Trump. This is along with the First Lady Melania Trump as well. Ahead of his visit, Trump's car and luggage arrived in India. On Monday, the US President, who's expected to attend a special event, which is at the Motera Stadium in Ahmedabad. And this is expected to be along the lines of what we'd seen, Howdy Modi in Houston, that was addressed by Prime Minister Modi last year. Preparations, let's get you specific details of those that are underway. This is the one at Sabarmati Ashram, where President Trump will make his first stop on the 24th of February, along with Melania Trump, first taken to Hriday Kunj, which is the cottage of Gandhiji. Our correspondent, Times Network correspondent Kajal Iyer, with this ground report from Hriday Kunj.
We are right now at Hriday Kunj, which is the cottage where Mahatma Gandhi used to live during his Satyagraha days, and at Sabarmati Ashram in Ahmedabad. This is one of the pit stops where President Trump is going to be coming with Prime Minister Modi, and it is going to be an important part of his Ahmedabad visit. We have with us one of the communicators of the ashram, Pratima Ben. Pratima Ben, बताइए क्या-क्या होने वाला है? ट्रम्प जी आएंगे, उनको क्या-क्या दिखाया जाएगा?
जी, एक बहुत आनंद का अवसर है कि ट्रम्प जी और उनकी वाइफ यहाँ दर्शन करने आ रहे हैं मोदी जी के साथ। तो ये पहले हम गांधी जी के फोटो पर उनको सूत की माला पहनाएंगे ट्रम्प जी, और उनका स्वागत किया जाएगा, और आटी से ट्रम्प जी का भी स्वागत किया जाएगा, जो हम खुद हाथ से बनाते हैं। ये गांधी जी का मीटिंग रूम हुआ करता था, जहाँ पर गांधी जी की सब ओरिजिनल चीज़ें रखी हैं जी। तो यहीं से सब देश की आज़ादी की लड़त के जो डिसीजंस लिए जाते थे जी। तो ये बहुत ही महत्व का समय और बहुत ही महत्व का कमरा हुआ करता था, जहाँ बापू बैठते थे और सबके साथ चर्चा विचारना यहाँ होती थी। तो सबसे पहला चरखा जो उन्होंने चलाया वो उनको एक्सप्लेन करना है, और उनका राइटिंग डेस्क है, उन्होंने आत्मकथा भी लिखना शुरू किया था 25 में, और 3 मंकी का स्टैचू है जो नीची दास फ्यू जी गुरु जी ने बापू को भेंट में दिया था। तो ये सब ओरिजिनल चीज़ें हैं। और ये महादेव भाई देसाई गांधी जी के पीए यहाँ पर बैठा करते थे। तो ये
सब आप ट्रम्प
जी को बताएंगे। जी जी जी।
और उसके बाद क्या होगा? उसके बाद उनको कहाँ लेके जाएंगे?
हाँ, प्रार्थना भूमि में, जहाँ पर प्रार्थना भूमि में जहाँ बच्चे लोग प्रार्थना करेंगे वो देखेंगे, और फूलहार उनकी स्टैचू पर जो है लगाया जाएगा। आंटी, सॉरी, फूलहार नहीं, आंटी। हम बताएंगे कि कैसे चरखा चलता है, उसका डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन देंगे।
अच्छा, ठीक है। तो जो भी यहाँ पे महानुभाव आते हैं उनको ये चरखा दिखाया जाता है। All of the dignitaries who have visited this place have usually been given a demonstration of this particular charkha, and you can see Pratima Ben now trying to use that and trying to show how Gandhi ji used to use charkhas like this to bring about a revolution in self-dependence in this country. Very interestingly, Mr. Trump is one of the richest men in the world, so to say, and also the president of one of the largest democracies in the world, and he will be shown this particular cottage and the simple life that Gandhi ji espoused throughout his life, a life of simplicity, a life of limited means, and President Trump will be shown how Gandhi lived his life.
Not just at the ashram, other preparations are on in full swing as well, and this is to repair the roads to ensure President Trump does get a smooth ride, and this is especially the road towards the Motera Stadium, where Trump will address a huge crowd. That is being now rebuilt, renovated wherever required.
The Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation and the Ahmedabad Urban Development Authority have undertaken massive road development and beautification works in the light of the visit of President Trump. You can see that this is the road towards Motera, which is right now being refurbished and resurfaced completely so that President Trump gets to see a clean, new, freshly made road, which will be part of his road show. And towards the end of his road show, you can see that the wall also is being has been just now painted, and people are still working out there to see that some sort of protection to the road is also being built, and all of this is being constructed just so that President Trump gets a good view of how development is happening here in Ahmedabad, and several crores of rupees being spent on the beautification project, and to see to it that Swachh Bharat and development actually are things that President Trump gets to see when he visits the roads of Ahmedabad.
On that note, it is a wrap on the show, but news and updates that continue for you right here. Stay on with us.